Hello y'all, Jason Long here again. In this week's video discussion, we were to read Common Sense by Thomas Paine and the Declaration of Independence, mostly written by Thomas Jefferson. And we were supposed to discuss that both authors were making a case for America to be a new country, a new sovereign nation. Thomas Paine, I have to admit, I've never actually read Common Sense all the way through until this discussion. I've seen quotes from it and whatnot. But after reading, it's definitely clear that he was calling for a new nation. There were several quotes that I've picked out, and you're going to have to bear with me here. I'm going to try to read those word for word because I don't want to mess them up. One of the first calls for a new nation I believe he has written is when in the section called Thoughts on the Present State of American Affairs. And he quotes, "As much hath been said of the advantages of reconciliation, which like an agreeable dream hath passed away and left us as we were. It is but right that we should examine the contrary side of the argument and inquire into some of the many material injuries which this colony sustained and will always sustain by being connected with and dependent on Great Britain." He's pointing out that there's been all sorts of infractions by Great Britain towards the colonies. And he's basically saying this is going to continue happening if we keep this dependency upon them. Another quote that I found, he says, "But admitting that we were all of English descent, what does it amount to? Nothing. Britain now being an open enemy extinguishes every other name and title, and to say that reconciliation is our duty is truly farcical." Once again, he's saying reconciliation is not an option anymore. And Great Britain is an open enemy now. Probably the most on the nose part of the Common Sense that I believe calls for the creation of a new nation is when he says, "The birthday of a new world is at hand, and a race of men, perhaps as numerous as all of Europe contains, are to receive their portion of freedom from the events of a few months. The reflection is awful. And in this point of view, how trifling, how ridiculous do the little paltry cavillings of a few weak or interested men appear when weighed against the business of the world." To me, this is more of essentially a proclamation, which leads us to the Declaration of Independence, which is truly the most well-known proclamation ever written, of course, by Thomas Jefferson. In Declaration of Independence, immediately, starts out, says, "Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes restrictive at these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute a new government." Now, there's an immediate call for a new government in the first couple of sentences of the Declaration. Thomas Jefferson then lays out 27 grievances, and I believe that each of these grievances is a declaration for a new nation. He basically says, "Hey, monarch, you've done this. Hey, parliament, you've done this. This is why we want to be and need to be our own nation." And then perhaps the largest call for a new nation is when he says, "We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the supreme judge of the world, for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and are right ought to be free and independent states." Very strong words by both authors. I will say that Thomas Paine's work does seem to read more directly towards the colonists, the people who are going to be fighting this war, whereas the Declaration of Independence is more of a putting the world, and especially Great Britain, on notice that the United States is going to be its own new nation. Thank you.